Namasarvebhyah. Welcome back to the course on Fundamentals of Asiddhatva in Paninian Grammar, presented by Vyoma Samskrita Pathashala. This is the 13th session of the course, and today we will see an example of Ekadeshasya Asiddhatvam. येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्. So far we have seen in quite some detail the asiddhatva as given by Purvatra Siddham. So the meaning, the examples, the various exceptions to Purvatra Siddham and so on. Purvatra Siddham is not the only asiddhatva operating within the Vyakarana, even though it is perhaps the most popular and well known, and of course the most important because it stretches over a long range. There are other kinds of asiddhatva which operate in more limited scenarios. So there are specific sutras for them. So we will see one of those today. Shatvatukor Asiddhaha is the sutra 6186. But to understand where we have Shatvatukor Asiddhaha, we need to go back 2 sutras and see 6184 Ekah Purva Parayoho. So Ekah Purva Parayoho is an Adhikara Sutra extending from 6184 to 6111. It is a very, very important Adhikara Sutra because some of the most important sutras even for beginners. So the Swara Sandhis starting from the Guna, Vriddhi, Purvarupa, Pararupa, Savarna Dirgha, all these Sandhis are in this Adhikara called Ekah Purva Parayoho. Asmin Adhikare Purva Parayoho Ekaha Adeshaha Bhavati. So Purva Varnaha, Paravarnaha. So there are 2 letters. Both of them are replaced by a single Adesha called the Ekadesha. So this Adhikara is called Ekadesha Adhikara. Say a very popular example, At Achi Gunaha. Avarnat Achipare Gunaha Bhavati. So there is Akara and there is other Ach. Then it says there is Guna. Guna in this context is Ekara. Gana plus Ishaha. A and E. Purva is Akara. Para is Ikara. So Purva and Para, Akara and Ikara are together replaced by Ekara. So this is given by Ekah Purva Parayoho. This is an Adhikara. Immediately after this Adhikara, he states Antadivaccha. Purvaparayoho yaha ekaha adeshaha kritaha saha antadivat bhavati. Purvoktaha ekadeshaha purvasya antavad bhavati parasya adivad bhavati. Iti antadivad bhavaha. For example, we see say gaja ina, where we do the same ad gunaha to give gajena. Now this ekara, you have gaj, a and na. Now this ekara, does it go with gaja or does it go with ina? That is it treated as a part of the pratipadika or is it treated as a part of the pratyaya is a question. So for that, this sutra says you can treat that ekara as the end of the pratipadika. You can say this gaje is the pratipadika and then na, or you can treat it as the beginning of the pratyaya. So you can say gaj and ena is the pratyaya. So this ekara can either go with the pratyaya or it can go with the pratipadika. So purvasya antavad bhavati parasya adivad bhavati iti atideshaha anena kriyate. So we see that in different contexts this sutra has different applications. We are not exactly concerned with Antadivacha now. After Antadivacha, he gives another sutra which is applicable in all Ekadeshas, which says Shatvatuko Rasiddhaha. So, Yoyam Ekadeshaha. So, we are talking about the same Adhikara. So, within that Ekah Purvaparayoho Adhikara, whatever is the Ekadesha which is done, Shatva tukoho asiddhaha. So Shatve kartavye, Tugagame cha kartavye, Ekadeshaha asiddhaha bhavati. So in two specific contexts of Shatva and Tugagama, the Ekadeshas is asiddha. So this is an asiddha which is not related to Tripadi. So all the Ekadesha Sutras are in the Sapada Saptadhyayi itself. So they are in this Adhikara 6184 to 111. But these Adeshas happen to be Asiddha in two specific contexts. One is Shatva and the other is Tugagama. Now Shatva is again, Shatva is an operation which is given in the Tripadi, apadantasya murdhanyaha iti adhikaraha. One of the most important sutras of the adhikara is adesha pratyayayoho. In kavargabhyam parasya adesha bhutasya pratyayavayavasya va sakarasya shatvam bhavati. Sakara is converted to shakara when it is preceded by in letter. In is always with the paranakara. So, I un rilik eong ayau chayavarat lan. So, either an in letter or kavarga letter. So, very popular examples in Saptami Bahuvachana. Say Rame Shu, Guru Shu, Hari Shu, Go Shu, Vak Shu. So, if there is any swara other than akara and kavarga letters, then the sakara becomes shakara. If it is akara, say Ramasu, there is only su, there is no shu. So that transformation of sakara to shakara is given by adesha pratyayayoho. It is not a single sutra. So Shatva refers to the entire Shatva Prakarana, of which this is the important sutra. So when you are trying to do Shatva, Ekadesha is Asiddha, is the first part. The other one says Tugagama. Tugagama is again given by 4 sutras in the Shashtadhyaya itself. Harasvasya piti kriti tuk checha dirghat padantat, etc. So there are sutras which give tuk as an agama. So Shatve kartavye tugagame va kartavye ekadesha asiddhaha. Ekadesha becomes asiddha to these two operations is what the sutra means. So we will see what is the example for these. So ka s asya. So kaha. So kim shabda prathama vibhakti ekavachana in pullinga. So kimah kaha. So kim is replaced by ka and s is the pratyaya. So ka s. Asya. Asya is shashti vibhakti ekavachana of idam shabda. Ayam imau ime. Asya anayoho esham. So asya is shashti vibhakti ekavachana of idam shabda. Kaha asya. So in this context, we have ka, s, asya. By sasajusho ruhu, sakara is converted to ru. So ka, r, asya. Here we have utva, atoro rapluta daplute. So ru is converted to u. Ka, u, asya. So we have seen this already. Sasajusho ruhu, even if it is in the Tripadi, is not asiddha to atoro rapluta daplute because of ashrayat siddhatvam. So ka, u, asya. Now you have ad gunaha. A plus u becomes o. Ko, asya. Now there is eng padanta dati. पदान्तादेङः अतिपरे पूर्वरूपं भवति. So we have kosya. Now the question is, kosya, you have an okara and you have a sakara after the okara. This sakara belongs to the pratyaya. So asya, sya is the shashti ekavachana pratyaya, like in ramasya, phalasya, asya. Sya is the pratyaya. So we have a pratyaya sakara preceded by an in letter. So can I convert this sakara to shakara by adesha pratyayayoho is the question. So adesha pratyayayoho gives shatva to a pratyaya sakara when it is preceded by in letter. Say I have go and su, I make it goshu. So ko and sya, can I make it koshya is the question. So adesha pratyayoho is in the tripadi, but it means it can see everything that comes before it. So purvatra siddham does not have a role to play here. So adesha pratyayoho recognizes all these operations and it sees ad gunaha and enga padantadati. After enga padantadati, we have a in plus sakara, which means that adesha pratyayoho shatva can happen. So in this context, we have Shatva Tukor Asiddhaha, which says Shatve Kartavye Ekadeshaha Asiddhaha. It is masking the Ekadesha even though it is not in the Tripadi. So this has nothing to do with Purvatra Siddham. This is by Shatva Tukor Asiddhaha. So for the purpose of Shatva, the Ekadesha, both these sutras, Ad Gunaha and Enga Padantadati, they are asiddha, they are the Ekadesha Adhikara and therefore they are asiddha. So Adesha Pratyayoho recognize only ka u asya. So here before sakara there is akara. It is not in and therefore shatva will not happen. So this prevention of shatva in kosya is because of shatva tukor asiddhaha. Shatve kartavye ekadesha shastram asiddham bhavati. The next example we will see is the tugagama, right? So we have an adhi upasarga in dhatu and ktva pratyaya. Ktva is replaced by lyap. So whenever there is an upasarga, there is a samasa and samase anaipurve ktvo lyap. So ktva is replaced by lyap, which is ya. So we have adhi, e, ya. Now adhi plus e, adhi plus e. So there is akassavarane dirgha. So it becomes adhi, ya. Now we have the sutra Hrasvasya Piti Kriti Tuk. Can this operate now is the question, because this sutra says Hrasvasya Piti Kriti. When there is a Krit Pratyaya which is Pit, like Lyap. Lyap is a Krit Pratyaya which is Pit. So Piti Kriti Hrasvasya Tugagamaha Bhavati. Hrasva will get Tugagama is the Sutrartha. But once we do Savarna Dirgha, there is no Hrasva. Now there is a Nyaya here which says Dhatu Upasargayoho Sambandhaha Antarangaha. So between a Dhatu and Upasarga, the Sambandha is Antaranga and therefore the Lyap is Bahiranga. So we do Savarna Dirgha first, but once we do the Savarna Dirgha, there is no Hrasva. There is a Dirgha here. So since there is no Hrasva, Hrasvasya Piti Kriti Tuk cannot operate. But the sutra says Shatva Tukoho Asiddhaha. तुगागमे कर्तव्ये एकादेशशास्त्रम् असिद्धं भवति. So akassavarne dirghah is asiddha to hrasvasya piti kriti tuk. So this sutra sees that there is an I dhatu which is a hrasva. So hrasvasya piti kriti pare tuk bhavati. Tuk means takara is added to the end of the hrasva. So after the hrasva we are adding a tugagama. So it becomes adhitya. So adhitya iti rupam siddhyati. Atra hrasvasya piti kriti tuk iti tugagamam prati ekadeshaha asiddhaha. So shatvatukora siddhaha is a very specific kind of masking. So it masks the Ekadesha Sutras only in the context of Shatva or Tugagama. So this is the second kind of Asiddhatva. So we see that in a few similar contexts where a Shatva Sutra or a Tugagama Sutra will not recognize the Ekadesha Sandhis. In the next session, we will see a different kind of asiddhatva called the abhiya asiddhatva. येनाक्षर समाम्नाय अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्.